Hello, my name is Debbie Jacobs, and I created this channel a couple of years ago, and I wanted to revisit it and give an update. What has been going on? I have been posting a lot on Facebook and doing videos, lives, and really trying to, use the platform that I have to gain exposure and attention to the fact that I did cure myself out of mental illness. That still holds true. And apparently, what I'm finding is that nobody cares. And actually, what is the cure to mental illness is reprogramming the mind and healing your flaws and awakening your own authenticity. And it is actually our authentic, way of being to care, right? But people that are in their negative programming don't care, not even about the cure to mental illness, which is the coping skills to care, right? So that's a challenge. But I know that this work is super important. It is amazing being in my healed authenticity. It is like, I can't even believe it. This is a reality. Yes, I lived in depression, anxiety, and bipolar. I totally did the whole therapy and medication and psychiatrists and therapists and group therapy and IOPs and being hospitalized. That is like the mental illness world. You know what I mean? And I was in it for almost 15 years. Uh, and let me tell you something. That actually adds so much, to the value of what I have to say, because I was in mental therapy, and mental therapy did not help me at all. My life actually got worse, and I took my own happiness into my own hands. Where I became responsible, for my own wants, needs, and actions and reactions. And I taught for myself right from wrong, because guess what? You don't teach right for wrong with punishment. You teach fear, anxiety, nervousness, worry, anger problems, inner critic. You teach all of our flaws. All of our flaws come from punishment, and this is a twofold. I'm trying to bring, reform to mental therapy, because now that the cure to mental illness, it is reprogramming the mind in entirety, getting the negative programming out. That's your healing, and learning effective ways, that accomplish positive programming and healthy self-esteem, your authenticity, right? Low self-esteem goes with negative programming, yeah, and mental illness. And basically, it's a whole different skill set that we all should have learned, in childhood, instead of reactionary behaviors that don't serve us. When parents use control, invalidation, and ego, to raise children. That's not good for kids. Kids end up in mental illness. So, of course, what I'm trying to do is to bring change to parenting practices. Now, that's a tall order, and to bring change to mental therapy. And then, let the process of change, start. Because really, there are tons of broken systems in our society. And guess what? That's what needs to change. And this is the way to start, making positive change. Because let me tell you something. Obviously, this whole racial divide, homelessness. We cannot live with people, and people cannot live, being homeless. That's not okay. Our schools, yes, our schools. I always see. I don't have any children, but I always see parents blame teachers, teachers blame parents, no matter what. Like, we need to stop with this division and with characteristics of the ego self. Blaming, not taking responsibility, wanting to be right, making someone else look bad. You know, and let me tell you something. I mean, it really has to. I believe that is what the mass spiritual awakening is. That change needs to permeate, in life, until there's nothing, needed that needs to change. But relationships and love, and there's so much because things have gotten very bad. So it's too bad that I don't have people gung ho and on board with reprogramming the mind. Yes, and that term might sound intimidating or like Frankenstein or scary or whatever, but it's not. Actually, what it is, I mean, technically that's what it's called, but really, what it is, learning, because our behaviors are learned, whether indirectly or directly. Now parents don't teach their kids to have anxiety, but that is a reactionary behavior from an unsafe and hostile environment that the home is. So because children learn anxiety, insecurity, whatever, that's all that we need to change. And you do that by literally changing your thought processes. And when you can change your thought processes, you actually go from a negative thinking to positive thinking that creates a positive outcome. And you find, you can learn, how to handle yourself in effective ways that don't make you or don't perpetuate reactionary behaviors that are bad for your mental stability. It is our reactionary behaviors that, will have us go off the rails. Depression, anxiety, bipolar, it's all reactionary behaviors. And since my own healing, which has been, I started 10 years ago, I finished 5 years ago, it's been 5 years that I'm in my healed authenticity, amazing. And it has not come back because I have positive programming in place. And now I am operating with ways that serve me, no longer with ways that don't serve me. And yes, I recognize that I am the only one. I thought I would have like all these parents that would be interested, and I'm speaking with a neurologist. I'm trying to bring my process, the healing process of reprogramming the mind, to the right party, which I believe is mental therapy. I think that mental therapy should have the cure to mental illness. Don't you agree? And from mental therapy, they can disseminate information about parenting. That's not a bad idea, right? But the challenge is that I'm actually not being heard. I'm not being received or taken seriously. And I do see that people do not want to reprogram their mind. They don't want to make any change. I can't even, rationally talk somebody out of punishment. I'm like, you don't have to hit your kid. Yes, I do have to hit my kid. I'm like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, that's a real challenge. But guess what? The fact of the matter is that children are ending up in mental illness. So we need to change for them. And people say that they don't care, and I'm hoping, I'm still pursuing that and hoping that can change. We all do need to care because guess what? It affects the quality of our life. Because we deal with each other. We don't live in vacuums, and hurt people, and I'm surprised that they don't take it upon themselves to say, you know what, maybe I'm, wrong, and they don't see their own actions. It's true. I am dealing with people, in their negative programming, and it is very, very hard for them to get them to be open to making some change in some ways for their own good. I would think that people would want to jump at the opportunity to get out of anxiety, get out of insecurity or shyness, or their anger problems or stress. And yeah, when you know all of the flaws and the negative, ineffective coping skills, you can see how they contribute to mental illness, and you can also see how they are developed in childhood. And we become, a direct, outcome of the way that parents treat children, and that's what really needs to stop. So I am pursuing this, and I wish this for everyone. I wish people to live in the freedom and happiness of your own authenticity, and not in, any unhealed pain, because it really makes a difference in life. And you know what's important? Not being right, or being positive. Life is important. And yes, having your best life, being your best version of self, and, all the interpersonal relationships, that you can enjoy when you have the skill set, that allows you, to feel confident interacting with people. So many people hide from life because of their flaws. We need to end the flaws, and I'm pursuing that. I wish that it was easier for me, and I wish, more than anything, that at least I had people in mental illness that came to me and say, let me hear about what your process is. My process is just speaking. All people have to do is listen to me, and I share, through my words, right? I'm not going into anybody's brain. I don't brainwash anyone, and I have gotten a lot of negative, almost like backlash for trying to do a good thing. But I just want to let you know that it is, you know, uh, you know, people make negative assumptions, assume the worst about even good things, and we need to stop that. We need to recognize as a society, that we can not be perpetuating, unhealthy family dynamics, and that needs to be fixed immediately. And unfortunately, people are ignoring me. But here it is a couple of years later, and I am pursuing this to the best of my ability, because I know that people in mental illness, deserve most to be happiest. And this is a way, out of their pain and into their happiness, and it's much needed. And also, children need to be taught, like we need to stop with punishment. It creates unhealthy and negative dynamics in family that end up, in toxicity and hate. And hate and toxicity should never be in family. Just like people should never be in mental illness. And when you think about it, it's like mental illness stems from an unhealthy family dynamic. So we need to fix the family dynamic to fix, mental illness, and to fix life for sure. So that is what I am working on, and I am eager to have a breakthrough. That's for sure, because it is definitely hard for me. I know it's hard for children dealing with their parents, and it's hard for people living in mental illness. And it can be easier. It should be easier, and we all need to work together to accomplish it. And I hope to be driving that. All right, my name is Debbie Jacobs. Thanks. Bye bye.